Hi, I'm Dr. Kristi Sobering. This is my husband, Reverend Steve Sobering. We're both licensed ministers in the Orlando, Florida area. We're in lovely Windermere today. Well, it's about 6,000 degrees outside. We're on our front porch hanging out. Steve's going to play us some music while I read chapter 1 of Plato, the Republic, out loud for you guys. And I'll talk as loud as I can. Sorry we don't have microphones and stuff set up, but this is our afternoon. Here we go. Plato, the Republic, the Dover Thrift Editions version, so we all understand what translation we're using. And I'm going to mangle this book and drive everybody who likes books crazy by doing this. But it's a good one, and I love it. This is one of my favorite books that's ever been produced. The Republic. Book 1. Persons of the dialogue. Socrates, who is the narrator, Glaucon, Adeimantus, Polemarchus, Cephalus, or Cephalus. I've always said Cephalus, so I apologize if I've mispronounced his name. Thrasymachus, and Cleodophon, and others who are mute auditors. The scene is laid in the house of Cephalus at the Piraeus, and the whole dialogue is narrated by Socrates the day after it actually took place to Timaeus, Hermocrates, Critias, and a nameless person. Hi. Who are introduced in the Timaeus. I went down yesterday to the Piraeus with Glaucon, the son of Ariston, that I might offer up my prayers to the goddess, and also because I wanted to see in what manner they would celebrate the festival, which was a new thing. I was delighted with the procession of the inhabitants, but that of the Thracians was equally, if not more, beautiful. When we had finished our prayers and viewed the spectacle, we turned in the direction of the city, and at that instant Polemarchus, son of Cephalus, chanced to catch sight of us from a distance, as we were starting on our way home, and told his servant to run and bid us wait for him. The servant took hold of me by the cloak behind, and said, "Polemarchus desires you to wait." I turned round and asked him where his master was. "There he is," said the youth, "coming after you. If you will only wait." It's a plantagenet thing. Ancestry DNA. We wait. "Certainly we will," said Glaucon, and in a few minutes Polemarchus appeared, and with him Adeimantus, Glaucon's brother, Niceratus, the son of Nicias, and several others who had been at the procession. Polemarchus said to me, "I perceive, Socrates, that you and your companion are already on your way to the city." "You are not far wrong," I said. "But do you see," he rejoined, "how many we are?" "Of course." "And are you stronger than all these? For if not, you will have to remain where you are." Metabab. "May there not be the alternative," I said, "that we may persuade you to let us go?" "But can you persuade us if we refuse to listen to you?" he said. "Certainly not," replied Glaucon. "Then we are not going to listen. Of that you may be assured." Adeimantus added, "Has no one told you of the torch race on horseback in honor of the goddess, which will take place in the evening?" "With horses," I replied. "That is a novelty. Will horsemen carry torches?" "Will horsemen carry torches and pass them one to another during the race?" "Yes," said Polemarchus. "And not only so, but a festival will be celebrated at night, which you certainly ought to see." Let us rise soon after supper and see this festival. There will be a gathering of young men, and we will have a good talk. Stay then, and do not be perverse. Glaucon said, I suppose, since you insist that we must. Very good, I replied. Accordingly, we went with Polemarchus to his house, and then we found his brothers Lysias and Euthydemus, and with them Thrasymachus and Chalcedonian, Charmantides of the Paean, I can't spell this, I apologize, Paeanian, I can't say it or spell it apparently, Paeanian, there we go, Cleitophon, the son of Aristimus, there was too, Cephalus, the father of Polemarchus, whom I had not seen for a long time, and I thought him very much aged. We have the same experience when we see people after a long time, especially with the elderly. He was seated on a cushioned chair and had a garland on his head, for he had been sacrificing in the court. And there were some other chairs in the room arranged in a semicircle, upon which we sat down by him. He saluted me eagerly, and then he said, You don't come to see me, Socrates, as often as you ought. If I were still able to go and see you, I would not ask you to come to me. Sorry. I'm very autistic. I have what's known as an HSP personality, a highly sensitive personality. And my hippocampus does things as an autistic savant. But, let's just say it's done for a long time. It connects me very deeply with material and other people. Apologies. 2020 pandemic got me. I'm gonna try and get past this. He was seated on a cushioned chair and had a garland on his head. For he had been sacrificing in the court, and there were some other chairs in the room. I got this. There were some other chairs in the room, arranged in a semicircle, upon which we sat down by him. He saluted me eagerly, and then he said, You don't come to see me, Socrates, as often as you ought. If I were still able to go and see you, I would not ask you to come to me. But at my age, I can hardly get to the city. And therefore you should come oftener to the Piraeus, or Disney Springs in our local area. For let me tell you, my eyes are leaking. For let me tell you, that the more of the pleasures of the body fade away. For let me tell you that the more the pleasures of the body fade away, the greater to me is the pleasure and charm of conversation. Do not deny my request, but make our house your resort, and keep company with these young men. We are old friends. We are old friends, and you will be quite at home with us. going. I'm going to try. I replied, "There is nothing from which, for my part, I like better, Cephalus, than conversing with aged men." Me too. "For I regard them as travelers who have gone a journey which I too may have to go, and of whom I ought to inquire whether the way is smooch and easy." Ha, smooch and easy, I'm cute. "Whether the way is smooth and easy, or rugged and difficult." And this is a question which I should like to ask of you who have arrived at that time. Who have arrived at that time. Which poets call the threshold of old age. Is life harder towards the end? Or what report do you give of it? Gross, sorry. Full Fiona. Don't touch my book, I wore it in my nose. My hands, that's gross. We'll get this, we'll get it together. I'm a big girl, I can do this. For everyone who has ever read or been impacted by this book in any way, or by someone in my ancestry DNA. Is life harder towards the end, or what report do you give of it? "I will tell you, Socrates," he said, "what my feeling is. Men of my age flock together. We are birds of a feather, as the old proverb says. I'm bird family DNA, daughters of the American Revolution. I'm also little family DNA. My family is the little bird who told and gives good word." Men of my age flock together. We are birds of a feather, as the old proverb says. Publishing houses matter. Certain translations. As the old proverb says, and at our meetings the tale of my acquaintance commonly is, I cannot eat, I cannot drink. The pleasures of my youth and love are fled away. There was a good time once, but now that is gone. Life is no longer life. Some complain of the slights which are put upon them by relations. Some complain of the slights put on them by relations. And they would tell you sadly of how many evils their old age is the cause. But to me, Socrates, these complainers seem to blame that which is not really in fault. Not at fault. They posted the word in here. Not really in fault. Come back to that later for a philosophy class. The difference between at and in, related to time dilation, movement of material, and astro communications for deep space. The difference between at and in is living and dead, so everyone knows. At least in my vernacular from my family history. The difference between at and in matters. For if in old age we were the cause, I too being old, and every other old man, would have felt as they do. But this is not my own experience, nor that of others whom I have known. How well I remember the aged poet Sophocles, a good person. Are you still the man you were? Peace, he replied. Most gladly I have escaped the thing of which you speak. I feel as if I had escaped from a mad and furious master. I've escaped a few of those. I've definitely escaped a few of those. His words have often occurred to my mind since, every day, and they seem as good to me now as at the time when he uttered them. Reconcile the time. Discs. Spin plates. For certainly, old age has a great sense of calm and freedom. When the passions relax their hold, then, as Sophocles says, we are freed from the grasp not of one mad master only, but of many. The truth is, Socrates, that these regrets and also the complaints about relations are to be attributed to the same cause, which is not old age, but men's characters and tempers. For he who is of a calm and happy nature will hardly feel the pressure of age. I have new gray. Will hardly feel the pressure of age. But to him who is of an opposite disposition, youth and age are equally a burden. I listened in admiration and wanting to draw him out, that he might go on. Yes, Cephalus, I said. I rather suspect that the people in general are not convinced by you when you speak thus. They think that old age sits lightly upon you, not because of your happy disposition, but because you are rich, and wealth is well known to be a great comforter. You are right, he replied. They are not convinced, and there is something in what they say. Not, however, so much as they imagine. I might answer them as Themistocles answered the Seraphian, who was abusing him. And saying that he was famous not for his own merits, but because he was an Athenian. If you had been a native, it's like saying you're going to abuse somebody because they're from New Jersey. Stupid. If you had been a native of my country, or I of yours, neither of us would have been famous. And to those who are not rich and are impatient of old age, the same reply may be made for the good. For to the good, poor man, old age cannot be a light burden. And to those who are not rich and are impatient of old age, the same reply may be made. For the good, poor man, old age cannot be a light burden. Nor can a bad rich man ever have peace. Ever have peace within himself. Think self-contained unit. He'll never have peace. Neither will a toxic female. May I ask, Cephalus, whether your fortune was for the most part inherited or acquired by you? Acquired? Socrates, do you want to know how much I acquired? In the art of making money, I have been midway between my father and my grandfather, whose name I bear. I'm a Stuart. my grandfather, whose name I bear, doubled and trebled the value of his patrimony, that which he inherited being much what I possess now. But my father, Lysanias, reduced the property below what it is at present, and I shall be satisfied if I leave to these my sons not less, but a little more than I received. I have received not a single penny. Or kind word or moral support. From my father's family or my mother. We host flyingmonkeysdenied.com. That's good. I shall be satisfied if I leave these to my son, or sons, not less, but a little more than I received. Think about the impact of parental alienation on every family in the United States who's been sabotaged by the Cromwells and by Philip. Satisfied if I leave to these my sons not less but a little more than I received. That puts you in the +1 of a Cartesian graph. Think it through. Land. That is why I asked you the question, I replied, because I see that you are indifferent about money, which is characteristic rather of those who have inherited their fortunes than of those who have acquired them. The makers of fortunes have a second love of money as a creation of their own. Thank my family for that. Longshanks is my 20th great-grandfather. The makers of fortunes have a second love of money as a creation of their own. Resembling the affection of authors for their own poems. That's 100% accurate for an autistic, of which my family is incredibly autistic. That is why I asked you the question, I replied, because I see that you are indifferent about money, which is characteristic rather of those who have inherited their fortunes than of those who have acquired them. The makers of fortunes have a second love of money as a creation of their own, resembling the affection of authors for their own poems, or of parents for their children, 100% accurate. Besides that natural love of it for the sake of use and profit, which is common to them and all men. And hence they are very bad company, for they can talk about nothing but the praises of wealth. Nonsense. That is true, he said. Yes, that is very true, but may I ask you another question? Malignant somatic narcissism, take a peek at it on Flying Monkeys Denied. I have not included any of my personal or family information on the website. I have not included most of my professional work on the website. Take a look at malignant somatic narcissism to understand my general interpretation and feeling on the term, however, as it relates to my Lami family upbringing. And nurtured sociopathy. HSP affectations caused by repeated exposure to traumatizing events is typically the result of repressed CPTSD that's learned to collapse the emotional processing center of the mind in an unhealthy manner in a way that freezes neuroplasticity in order to survive. Being a member of my family should never have been hard. Sorry. I'm a genetic anomaly. So was my grandma and all my grandmas before me. We don't fit. It's a Quaker rocker thing. That is true, he said, in reference to individuals who only care about wealth and status and power and money. Yes, that is very true, but may I ask you another question? What do you consider to be the greatest blessing which you have reaped from your wealth? Mine's education. What's the greatest blessing you have received from your family's wealth? You were raised in a deep poverty situation when you were a child. However, I make the argument that because we were in the United States, that our greatest blessing was our proximity to be able to access academic information and cultural arts.
Correct. Opportunity. Nothing stopping us other than ourselves.
That's how I feel about it. Yes, that is very true, but may I ask you another question? What do you consider to be the greatest blessing which you have reaped from your wealth? One, he said, of which I could not expect easily to convince others. For let me tell you, Socrates, that when a man thinks himself to be near death, fears and cares enter into his mind which he never had before. The tales of a world below and the punishment which is extracted there of deeds done here were once a laughing matter to him, but now he is tormented with the thought that they may be true. They are. Either from the weakness of age or because he is now drawing nearer to that place, which he has a clearer view of these things. Suspicions and alarms crowd thickly upon him, and he begins to reflect and consider what wrongs he has done to others. And when he finds that the sum of his transgressions is great, he will many a time, like a child, start up in his sleep for fear, and he is filled with dark forebodings. But to him who is conscious of no sin, sweet hope, as Pindar charmingly says, is the kind nurse of his age. We try and good. We try and good. We just try and good. We try and be good people. We try and do good things. We try and make the world a better place. And I've received a notice that we're out of storage space on our camera, so I'm going to have to continue this later. Thanks for listening and helping me process.